He brought light, love, and happiness.
I don't think I ever laughed as hard as I did with him, and I probably never will again.
Philip Rabadi was talented in so many ways, a surgical physician assistant who never missed a chance to be playful.
I just feel him with me all the time, right? So then I, of course, feel him with me in my work and in everything I do.
2 years after he was murdered by a man motivated by jealous rage,
Planning on turning myself in.
his loved ones are breaking their silence.
I have to speak my mind, because this is utterly wrong.
How they prepared to confront the killer in court,
Felt like an impossible task, impossible.
and the memories they are sharing so you know more than just how Philip died.
I don't know any other way than having Philip in my life. I don't know another way.
Also, the foundation they've created in Philip's honor and the thousands of dollars already donated.
What defines this foundation? It's the basis of it. It's doing good.
Right now, a Newschannel 13 special report. More than a murder victim. The life and legacy of Philip Rabadi.
This is a story of hope and love. It's the story of a family struck by tremendous grief and turning that into purpose by giving back to others. It was a brutal crime that rocked the capital region and the nation. A physician assistant, Philip Rabadi, attacked and stabbed in his home in the town of Newschannel, Albany County. The man who committed the murder tried to get away, but he was caught thousands of miles away. And now the family of Philip is speaking for the very first time, sharing more about who Philip was, what he brought to their lives, and the foundation they have created in his honor. We start with taking you back to that horrible, life-changing day.
April 13th, 2022, in a home that sits on a cul-de-sac in New Scotland, Albany County, New York. An awful scene. A 35-year-old man, a physician assistant, killed. His name is Philip Rabadi. Philip's wife grew concerned that day when her husband did not show up for work, both physician assistants at St. Peter's Hospital in Albany. At 12:35 that afternoon, police came to check on Philip. At that same time, Philip's father and wife arrived. His father is the one who found him. Philip had been restrained and stabbed in the neck. Philip's wife went into medical mode, looking for a pulse. She immediately shared with police who she feared did this: her ex-boyfriend, Jacob Klein. The two broke up several years ago. Klein then moved to Virginia. But on April 10th, 2022, he drove from Virginia to Albany. He rented a truck and booked an Airbnb right near St. Peter's Hospital. And he stalked Philip and his wife for days before committing this horrific crime. Klein then tried to get away, but 2 days later,
I know what you guys are here for. I understand. You're obviously planning on turning myself in.
Jacob Klein was caught in Virginia.
Philip and his wife were newlyweds. They just got married 6 months prior to that awful day, and they just moved into their home. They were building their life together. Philip's family members say if any word defines Philip, it's love. When you think of Philip, what's the word that comes to your mind? Word or phrase that comes to your mind? Brendan, if you want to start.
Funny. He was a funny guy. I don't think I ever laughed as hard as I did with him, and I probably never will again, which is just a sad truth.
Lexi, how about you?
A very, very safe space of a soul, always, always.
And I took an 8.5 by 11 and I wrote these adjectives that describe him, and I ran out of space. He's the best dad joke teller, hands down.
Sitting down with Philip Rabadi's father, Shaw, older brother Brendan, and younger sister Lexi, we talk about how Philip knew he wanted to be a surgeon when he was just 5 years old.
And I remember him when he was in PA school, how much he cared about learning to suture properly, and he wanted to be the best at that.
He graduated from Guilderland High School, where he was a top athlete. He went on to Albany Medical College and became a skilled surgical physician assistant at St. Peter's Hospital. That precision, that personality of perfection transformed into a hobby of woodworking.
All of a sudden, the next thing and the next project, and he's building tables and he's buying equipment, and my garage is half his.
That table right there, he created that, right?
That table and the chair and the corbels and the table upstairs, and there's a bench upstairs.
In addition to the woodworking, he had other talents, playing guitar, singing.
Dancing.
Oh yeah, big dancer, big dancer.
That vibrant life was taken April 13th, 2022.
What happened does not define Philip. It doesn't define who he is.
If the word love defines anything, anyone, it's Philip.
The murder trial in October 2023 lasted 2 weeks. Jacob Klein appeared pro se, acting as his own attorney. The jury returned a quick verdict just 2 hours before finding Klein guilty of murder.
Guilty.
Was your verdict unanimous?
Yes.
This individual proceeded to represent himself and lied repeatedly about everything and anything.
I've almost had to question my own humanity over the last couple of days because I struggle to find any humanity in Mr. Klein.
It's not rare for judges to get personal right during sentencing, but that was pretty powerful to hear that from him. Did that sit with you at all when the judge said that?
Yeah, it's affirming for us, like that what Judge Little said and the facts you just stated. It's many things, but it's certainly affirming, at least. Just like, okay, yep, good. That was palpable.
Right now, Jacob Klein is serving 25 years to life in prison for the murder of Philip Rabadi. At sentencing in December 2023, Philip's family members got their chance to speak directly to this man. And for the first time, we are hearing what it was like for the family to write and share those victim impact statements.
This is the kind of person he is a landmine of emotional immaturity and toxic masculinity.
Could you share just how it was writing that piece for you?
So it felt like an impossible task, impossible. How can I invite you to look through this window at all? I mean, not that I even want to, because it's so horrible. And yet, once that flow sort of opened up, it actually was a really cathartic experience to just make an attempt at words. Felt like an owning of the feelings instead of this chaotic swirling of things coming at you, that to kind of grab onto them and look at them and be able to label them a little bit.
I find myself rewriting mine in my head all the time. I don't know about you guys,
right?
but all the time. All the time. If I'm doing something a little bit mindless, if I'm, doing something in the yard or cleaning or whatever, I'll find myself monologuing, because when I went to write mine, I think I had 10 different versions started. You don't know, there's too many places to go with something like this. I definitely find myself rewording things all the time, all the time. To my brother, to the public, to this person, there's a lot to say.
This coward killer, that guy, thank God he is not in a suit. That's the jumpsuit he should be in for the rest of your life. So how do you express that? How do you express to someone, in the courtroom or the world, that I'm a victim and I'm giving you a statement of how I feel? There are no words in the dictionary that describes that.
These trials are always extremely emotional. The family had to relive the horror of that day, seeing video from inside the home. I spoke with the lead prosecutor about the heaviness of a case like this, how she handled Jacob Klein representing himself, and also a key piece of evidence she focused on to find him guilty. Is it hard to kind of let some of that go, or does it sit with you for a little bit too?
It never goes away, no. I mean, I think that the things that I have seen and the things that I have had to show to juries is something that is very difficult. This really was a true shock to the family, something that no family should ever have to go through, something that no family should ever have to deal with.
With Jacob Klein representing himself, they had to hear him and see him every day.
Yes, and they were going to have to be ready for that. Every day I would have to chat with him, converse with him. We'd have to talk about evidence, stipulations, things of that nature, and really develop a relationship with him as an attorney, but remembering he is the defendant at the same time.
The jury is aware that you are a trained lawyer and he is not, and so you have to maintain that level of fairness, right? That you're not taking advantage of that.
Yes, and that is something that I think is a great point. You have to remind yourself of that he deserves just as much of respect in that regard as any attorney would, even though he is the defendant.
This case was built on circumstantial evidence. There was no DNA evidence. So when you approach a case like this from the start with that, is there always a little level of concern?
I think DNA is a little overrated sometimes. We love to have it, but what I actually really enjoy is delving into cases and finding all of those little components that people might not necessarily focus on. And in this particular case, I know it might sound silly, but it's the pants. To just go back to something as simple as the clothing that this person chose to wear from the moment he arrived to the moment he committed a murder.
The stripe
on the pant.
Assistant District Attorney Jessica Blaine Lewis says it is clear Philip was someone who was so loved and respected. His family wanted to feel that message was coming throughout this trial. I spoke with Philip's mom, Tori, for this special report as well, and she said in this statement, "I am the luckiest person in the world to have the honor of being Philip's mom." I've met with the Rabadi family many times over the course of putting this report together, and the love they feel for each other is palpable, especially amongst Philip's siblings. His sister Lexi, the youngest of the three, is a successful actress on Broadway.
How has this, I guess, played into how you perform?
It's impacted literally every word I say and how I say it and how my voice feels and sounds when I sing, and I mean everything in between. There's nothing it hasn't changed because it's just changed me so much. Going back to your question about do we talk to Philip, how does Philip stay with us throughout our lives and our days and every single moment. I just feel him with me all the time, right? So then I of course feel him with me in my work and in everything I do.
That safe space that you were talking about that he provided when you growing up, it sounds like you feel that still.
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. I feel like he's a part of certainly the art that I create and will create forever.
The Rabadi family feels there's a reason why the word philanthropy starts with Phil. By giving back to the Capital Region in Philip's name, they feel he is truly always with them.
This happening doesn't make him any less important in my life. Yeah, if anything, the opposite, you know, because it just highlights, you almost don't know what you have until it's gone. And, you know, he's my brother, he's my best friend, he was my future plans. So you have to honor that in some way.
The family, destroyed and grieving, has been determined to focus on what Philip brought to this world. They quickly launched a foundation in honor of Philip called Phil with Love to raise money to donate to organizations that focus on helping the capital region.
Thank you. You're quite welcome. And
Newschannel 13 was the only station there as the Rabadi family presented a $15,000 check from the Phil with Love Foundation for the domestic violence shelter at Equinox. Phil with Love has also made donations in recent weeks to the Mohawk Hudson Humane Society, the Capital District Humane Association, the Regional Food Bank of Northeastern New York, the Guilderland Food Pantry, and Jake's Help from Heaven. In all, $32,500 donated to charitable groups.
I think it's a two-way thing. I think it only makes sense for us to give back to the community that's showing us so much support in this time.
going back to what you were saying, what defines this foundation is it's the basis of it. It's doing good.
Good is what Philip embodied.
With that new foundation of what life is, we have no choice but to move forward and try and find some sense of self and purpose.
The very first scholarship from Phil with Love was just awarded 2 years after Philip's death. It was given to a current student at Albany Medical College studying to become a physician assistant, just like Phil.
It's the first time Shaw Rabadi has been in this room at Albany Medical College since his son Philip's graduation. Shaw shared with the graduating class of 2024 the memory of Philip walking down the stairs and receiving his white coat when he finished PA school. Mr. Rabadi was back here to award a scholarship to a current student in honor of Philip. That student is Brandon LaVenture from Schenectady.
Good luck to you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
25 years old, a second-year student here.
When you heard Philip's father, Shaw, talk about Philip and remembering seeing him here and all the good he embodied, and to know that you were chosen for this award, for this scholarship, the pride, the feeling you felt in that moment, describe that for us.
Yes, I feel a very large duty to live up to Phil's name. It really is an absolute honor, and I've never had an honor like this in my life, which is so meaningful. And I'm going to strive every day knowing that Phil is with me to try to have the biggest impact I can have on everybody.
The Rabadi family has taken the indescribable grief of losing Philip in this horrific way and channeled it into love through their foundation, Phil with Love, which they hope you'll check out. The link is up right now. Their big golf fundraiser for the organization is every August. I'll leave you with this. Philip Rabadi's favorite saying was, "Stay humble, make something." A special thank you to photographer and editor Alex Clary for his work with me on this special report. I'm Subrina Dhammi. Thank you for watching.